The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
There is nobody that holds a candle to the king.
You know, I wouldn't be opposed to, maybe you build some tag teams here.
We are the absolute best tag team of all time, bar none, the greatest tag team of all time.
Jay White's going to be a star, no matter where he goes.
I'm going to be the guy that spits in the face of cliches. I'm going to be the guy that tells time to off.
Man, what in the world is Joe doing? Just standing. And then I thought to myself, maybe he just likes Jericho's music as much as I do.
Beautiful. Do you know what's right next door? You know what's right next door? What's that? Right next door is Sinclair Broadcasting. You know what they're doing? They are frantic, panicking, writing a figure down that's acceptable, just terrified. Oh, what is he going to do?
That's zero.
We don't own the title anymore. The Bullet Club. Hey, while you're at it, dial up Bushi Road and New Japan Pro Wrestling because in 8 days we're taking that one too.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling to the Max, episode 253, part 2. And of course, we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com as well as 411mania.com. If you want to go find us wherever podcasts are available, make sure you go check out Wrestling to the Max. Go subscribe there to get all our great content. If you love everybody over there at the W2Mnet.com family, make sure you go subscribe at W2M Network. That's right. That place gets you all the podcasts that we have to offer at the website. Also, once again, we have a YouTube channel that you want to go search out. Make sure you go search that out by Wrestling to the Max. And, of course, you can find us pretty much, all over the place. So make sure you just go look wherever you like and, probably will be there. We appreciate you all for joining us tonight. We have a great show in store for you. We have, of course, some great quick hits to talk about, a lot of moving parts of different places, some things becoming official with TNA. We also have Impact, if we can still remember to call it Impact Wrestling. Also, don't forget, we're also going to be talking about some other big things like Slammiversary. I know a lot of people have kind of noticed we haven't been covering Impact a lot lately, but we are going to kind of get into a little Impact talk because Slammiversary is here and it's kind of important to talk about. This is a big deal for them and it's something that's kind of relevant right now in the world of wrestling. We're also going to be talking 2 doses of Lucha Underground this week. That's right. We hadn't had a chance to cover it last week, so you're going to get 2 doses of it, and I'm really looking forward to that. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about the G1 in America. That's right. That is happening this weekend. You don't want to miss it. You've probably heard about it everywhere, but it's really cool. New Japan has come over to the States and is going to do a great show in Long Beach. So we'll be talking about some of our predictions there, as well as we'll be crowning a Superstar of the Week. So trust me, a great show. I can't wait to get into all this content, so we won't be delaying too much longer. Of course, I'm your host, Gary Vaughan. Along with me is Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
And guys, I know, like I said, we have a big show in store for everyone, but we promised on this Monday or Tuesday morning's episode, however you want to say it, that we would talk Glow. We didn't really get into that. We kind of got into some other TV shows, but, Glow has been out for, week, 2 weeks now? I don't even know the timeline. But it's been out, and a lot of people have been watching it, and I'm just kind of curious,
It's officially a week after today.
It is officially a week, okay. So I don't know. Feels like it's been 2 weeks, but you're right. It is a week, and it's great that they have some shows like this out available for people to watch, and especially since this was a real promotion back in the '80s, it's kind of cool that they have brought this in the limelight again, and we get a lot of entertainment out of it. And so let's go ahead and kind of break this down and kind of give some of our opinions about this show. I'm not completely finished. You both have finished the show completely. I don't really mind if you spoil it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. If you don't want to spoil it for people, that's cool too. So far, I think it's a good show. I think it's really interesting. Sean has kind of told me, hey, it's about the characters, and I agree with that totally. Some of these characters that they've kind of showcased in front of our eyes have actually kind of been cool, and you care about their story and everything that they do. And it's also really cool to see some of these cameos by the professional wrestlers that we cover on this show quite a bit, kind of like Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him, and other people like that. So, Paul, what was your thoughts about this show?
First off, it does a very good job of actually being respectful of wrestling. It doesn't try to demean wrestling fans by any stretch of the imagination, which I thought was really cool. Because, let's face it, if you've ever seen any of the original Glow's run on television from the 80s, it's not exactly a stellar representation of wrestling, or, very fair to women at times either, but it was entertaining, and this certainly is as well. I think a lot of the wrestlers I know are based off of characters from the TV show, even though the characters portraying those characters aren't exactly based on the real people. So, except for the producer guy, and the director, I believe, as well. But I really enjoyed the show. Well, it's a solid story. It's not out there trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that, but they went to Reseda, I think, for that indie show that they did, where PWG does all their shows. It looks exactly like that venue and all the wrestlers, and it's a really, really cool show. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this show. I think it's one of my favorites that they've ever had on Netflix. It is respectful to wrestling. It has, former WWE wrestlers, current Impact and Lucha Underground and other wrestlers appearing. And it's even freaking Alex Riley makes a key appearance there. So it's like, it's extremely it's funny. It catches some of the camp of the original Glow without overdoing it like the original Glow did at times. Like Paul said, if you watch which I recommend, either do it after you watch this or before, whichever one you want. Watch the Glow documentary, which is also on Netflix, because you learn a lot from the actual wrestlers that were there about the show, about how the beginning is very much the same way that the whole thing started out. It really did start out with a casting call, and then they turned into wrestlers. And, of course, obviously, perhaps Season 2 will actually go into the show airing or how the show is and all that kind of stuff. And we'll get them singing, for instance, and all that. But, I think there was people complaining that they didn't teach them enough wrestling or whatever. We didn't see them learning enough wrestling or whatever. It's like, you got to understand, number one, this is women's wrestling back in the 80s when it wasn't the same as today. Number two, they're literally being taught by somebody who doesn't know how to do wrestling, so they're not going to learn, a bunch of moves. So I just appreciated the fact that each one of the characters is like, you can immediately, or within the number of episodes, you will get to love them, and just Allison Brie is wonderful in this. She does a tremendous. It's probably one of her best roles, honestly. Up there with Community and her role in Mad Men and all that stuff. It just. It's really cool that they took somebody that's well known. She embraced it, and it really shows in the whole product that they enjoy doing the show.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, like you said, you could tell it was kind of an atmosphere of joy rather than just kind of a monotony or, a hard thing to do, and I think that, for the most part, you felt pretty comfortable watching this and it felt really smooth. And I think it's neat that they kind of came up with their own characters and they really worked on kind of providing you a storyline that you could, follow without having to know a lot of history. That's what the cool thing is. You didn't have to go back and find each of these ladies and history and know about them and all that, because they kind of went on their own creation. And you'll have to actually go watch that documentary if you want to know the real people that were involved. So that's great. It also left you open for those next seasons if they wanted to do seasons following this, to where anything can happen. There's no given storyline that has to follow a certain amount of things in history, besides maybe the TV and the singing stuff that you guys mentioned, right? So that
I do love the director character. I think Mark Maron does a fantastic job.
I think he was probably my favorite character out of everybody on this show. Like, he was great the entire. He's just this very full, flawed character that you get to know and suddenly start, thinking he might be a decent person underneath all the sleaze, which is, really cool little journey for him too. I mean, a lot of the side characters are my favorite. Like the She-Wolf was another one of my favorite characters. I thought she was great. I'm forgetting her name.
I really liked Machu Picchu too.
Yeah. Machu Picchu's good. The Kate Nash as Britannica too. It's really cool.
I'm trying to think.
I can't remember her character name, but the girl that's like supposed to be the party girl or whatever. I thought she was pretty funny.
Melrose, I think, right?
Yeah, Melrose. Just the stuff with the robot was funny too.
That's really great. I would be remiss. Awesome Kong is in this too, and I think she does a bang up job as well.
You wouldn't really know that's Awesome Kong, honestly, unless you knew what she looked like and everything. She does such a good job in this. I do also like the story, and this is where they really get that feeling of wrestling, of really making you feel like you can enjoy this and not be a wrestling fan either, right? Like, I don't know if Amanda's watching this with you or not, Gary, but like, I feel like I could watch this, with somebody that's not a wrestling fan, and they'd really enjoy it. And it also kind of like, there's a special time when one of the characters goes to the indie show, and it hits that person of why people like this, right? And you feel that as we've all had that experience of, now I understand why this is cool. Now I understand why I like this. Like, this is what makes wrestling awesome, or whatever. And I really appreciate that moment was there for one of the characters, because everybody goes through that. Some people take it as a job, some people don't. But like, that this person was struggling with that, and they finally got that epiphany, and it makes them turn the corner. Like, I just I appreciated that part of the story too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's just so much that's you can kind of take away from it.
Plus the music.
I really like it.
We got to talk about this wonderful soundtrack that's in here too.
It's brilliant. I just that's why I get into these shows when it comes to taking place in the 80s. I watch The Americans, and they have some great tunes that are thrown in from the 80s. And this one really, they threw a lot of great tunes in your face. It was a lot of fun.
They somehow were able to do a wrestling, do wrestling with Dare playing at the same time. That was amazing. Just more of that should happen in real and wrestling that we watch now.
I know, right? They should do that with the Titus brand. Every time they have a Titus brand, match, They just play that.
Yeah, Titus just says, "Hey, you got the touch," and it starts playing.
Yeah. You got the Zawa power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I mean, any last things about that, guys? I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, lots of great stuff, and I think everybody should tune in for sure. I mean, like Paul just mentioned, or Sean just mentioned, you can sit down and you may be a wrestling fan and someone in your life isn't, and they watch a lot of TV with you. Well, put it on and say, hey, just give it a chance, because I think really, like Sean said, they'll enjoy it. You don't have to have any background in wrestling. It's nothing about that. You can just sit down and have fun watching it, and it's exciting, especially someone who's nostalgic like me and who loves to watch those stuff from back in the 80s. It's just a good time, so definitely worth your time to go check out on Netflix.
For sure. And I mean, there's so many wrestler cameos in this too, so if you are a wrestling fan, those are all there for you, and I don't see why they wouldn't make a season 2 of this. It's gotten so much acclaim already within the first week.
Yeah, you're right, and I think it's something that they'll just kind of have to make their minds up. I've heard it. Netflix is still trying to figure out exactly their programming and what they want to do, what they don't want to use. I sure hope this is one of them, though. I hope they want to continue on with this. So, all right, guys. Well, it is time for us to get into some news. That's right. We got some quick hits ahead of you, some great things to talk about, and some sad things, too. But we'll be right back with quick hits right after this, guys.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Alrighty.
All right, I don't like starting off quick hits with happy news and then jumping off into some sad news. I kind of like to hit some of the sad news first. That way we can jump into some more lighthearted conversations. So I'm going to start off with Matt Capitelli. And, if you remember his name, he had tumor about 10 years ago, and he was able to overcome that. But the sad news is that it's back. And this is more aggressive than it was previously 10 years ago. This is a sad deal. You hate to hear that about anybody, but, it's just a situation that you've got to deal with. And I don't know what to think about this, Sean. It's just terrible news.
Absolutely terrible news. Just thinking it's in remission for 10 years, you're trying to do something, and just you get hit like a ton of bricks of this is back, and it's more aggressive, and now part of this tumor cannot be operated on, which means that, it's probably going to shorten the amount of life that he's going to have, which really, really sucks. But yeah, just awful.
This is absolutely terrible news, and I'm. A lot of people have forgotten who this guy was, unfortunately. And if you're one of those people, he was one of WWE's biggest prospects for a long time down in OVW before he got hit with all this cancer stuff. And he appeared on screen a couple of times. He got beat up really famously by, was it Kurt Angle? Somebody beat him up like real bad, and it was a big segment, and I can't remember what it was. But it was on SmackDown. I know that much.
Yeah. I can't remember. I know Hardcore Holly always was Kurt Angle. I know there's several guys that get a bad reputation.
Well, Kurt Angle beat up Daniel Puder.
That's right.
He might have been Hardcore Holly.
Oh yeah, it was Hardcore Holly. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I mean, this is awful. Like, the guy is, he was a tremendous talent. It really sucks that cancer and all this cost him his career, essentially, and then he beat it into remission, and now it's back, and it's something you never want to hear about,
Yeah, and, it really brings things into light that, these guys are human, too. I mean, a lot of times we build these wrestlers, and, we talk about them all the time, and it's kind of funny to say this, right? But it's almost like when you're talking about the NFL or NBA and, the way that, they have these video games now. We talk about these guys like they're just inanimate objects. They're just these machines that go and do these great things that you love to watch, entertaining. You don't really put into place that sometimes these people are humans, right? And they have human problems because, you just see the glamorous side of them. You see all the characters and such, and you realize that, man, and these people are very real, and they deal with the same things that we deal with, and our family members deal with. So, just once again, another a sad story that you don't want to hear of. And I really hope, and all our hopes, wishes and prayers all go out to Matt Capitelli, and really hope that he gets better and things don't go the way that they seem to be going now. So we'll keep him in our thoughts for sure. Let's move us over some news that, is a lot more lighthearted if I can talk. Let's talk about War Machine, guys. They are officially free agents. That's right. So they are available to sign with anybody that they feel as they want. And there's been some speculation on what maybe they could do and who they should go with. Could it be WWE? Maybe New Japan? Some places that are really... probably still, evaluating these guys and probably really heavily considering picking them up. I don't know, Paul. I mean, I think any place these guys go would be great, but where do you think that they land?
I would wager a run with New Japan would probably be much more realistic right now because I still, WWE still kind of gun shy around guys who have left Ring of Honor for so much time. So after their contract expires because, they don't want to get accused of tampering or dealing while they're still in their contract or all this other stuff as they have been in the past. So maybe a short-term deal with New Japan before an NXT run, but WWE would be silly not to try to get these guys. They're a phenomenal tag team.
Well, they were trying to go after Ray Rowe for a while. Don't know if, I don't know why Hansen wouldn't be on your radar too. He is a phenomenal athlete. And those two guys have a look that's very unique to them. So I don't know how. Talk about them showing up at NXT. That would be huge. And you got guys that can talk about. Authors of Pain and them. Oof. You got a fantastic match right there. And then throw in the other teams that are still left around. That's really cool. I'd love for them to do stuff in New Japan like they are doing. I don't know. I thought Rowe had been a free agent for a while, so technically if they only wanted him, they could get him, now. It's just, I guess it all depends on what they want to do, right? They can use New Japan as leverage to say, hey, well, if you don't pay us what we want, we can just keep doing what we're doing over here. So, it's on NXT, WWE, if they're going to give them a bigger deal, or give them the deal where they can work indies and do NXT, So I'd like to see them in NXT, but I wouldn't be mad if they just signed with New Japan and stayed there either.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys are so talented, and, whatever the decision they make, it's going to be a solid one. But, I think New Japan just right now would just be such a smart move. I think, eventually WWE could be in their future, but I just look at WWE as a place where it would take a bit to get them involved, get them set. New Japan, they can start tomorrow and just keep kicking butt and it'd be entertaining and be exciting. And secretly, that's kind of the way I want it to go. So we'll see, though. Let's talk about some other WWE news that's kind of interesting here. Let's talk about Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd is now officially a WWE producer. We just talked on Monday night about, what could he be doing? Well, this is it, guys. How do you think about this? Sean, what do you think he'll be a pretty good producer here?
It takes everybody some time to get into the role, right? But obviously, being former wrestler has not that long been retired, a guy that was, very technical. I think he definitely has that ability to, book a match, get everything going for the women, and I like that idea. I give him a role, give him a full-time employee. He deserves it after what he did for the company and what he had to go through.
He'll be a great producer, I think, once he gets some time under his belt, right? I mean, the guy's been wrestling since forever. I think he's got over 15 years of experience at least. So, I mean, a great wrestler. I think he has a good mind for the business, too. You've seen all the great matches he's been in if you've watched him in NXT, and even before that when he was on ECW, when he first got to WWE all those many years ago. The guy just knows he gets wrestling. I think he'll be great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I look forward to seeing his work, and of course, he's going to be on that show, Total Divas. Of course, that we talked about that as well. And talking about that, once again, I mean, it's one of those shows that showcases a lot of talent that we see, and kind of really gives people an opportunity to get behind the and understand some of these secrecies or some of the things we don't really know about some of these ladies and working in WWE. But it is what it is. They've announced some of the people that'll be part of that show. We'll know Carmella, Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss are all going to be a part of that season as well. They are officially joining Total Divas. Sean, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm sad that Renee and Dean Ambrose are leaving because they were probably the best couple to watch last season. I can totally understand why. Dean is not I want my privacy invaded guy, and I don't think Renee is either. They have enough of being public figures in WWE. They don't need cameras following them around 24/7. I think having Carmella on there is going to help her a lot because we haven't seen much. We've seen little bits and pieces on what was the show? That one where they had that was on the network. They had a bunch of NXT people on it.
Oh, Breaking Ground.
Breaking Ground.
Yeah, Breaking Ground. Yeah, we saw a little bit of that there, but getting to see their relationship a lot more is going to be kind of cool. We have no idea who Alexa Bliss is dating, so that's going to be interesting because I don't think they've had somebody that's dating somebody outside the business, outside of Eva Marie for a while. So I'm glad Eva Marie's gone because it's whatever. And Nia Jax is also interesting because if she's still with Braun, then we get to see Braun on the show, being normal. So that's cool.
That'll be
also.
Weird.
Yeah, that'll be weird. Certainly, So it's a dumb show. It runs into all the reality TV tropes that you can imagine. The Bellas fight and they make up every episode, but it's cool when they add new people because you get to get a little glimpse into their lives, whatever part of it is actually real that's not made up for the show.
Yeah. The part that I'm going to be kind of curious too is with Carmella, her boyfriend being Big Cass, they'll have to make sure that they don't hang out with their little buddy because, Enzo, of course, is
I want to see how much they hang out with their little buddy Enzo. And
yeah.
They got no problem killing kayfabe on that show last time I watched it.
Because Lana does not, she never talks in her accent. She is total CJ Perry on that show. And there's probably so many other instances where they kill kayfabe. I can't think about right now. But it's just, I like that. I like that you can have a show where they act like themselves more, and then you watch them on TV and you're going, whoa, okay. That's different sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think it, is a little bit more interesting adding these new faces. I don't know if I'll watch, but I think it does make it more interesting. Really quickly here, we have another name announced to the Mae Young Classic. We want to make sure that everybody knows that Evie is now a part of that Mae Young Classic. Of course, the name she'll be going by on that on that show will be Dakota Cal. So, Paul, there you go, another name.
Evie's a phenomenal talent. She's somebody I think people are going to get attached to very quickly. She's a wonderful babyface. She's a great wrestler. I'm really, really excited. This is the first name that they've announced that I've gotten super excited for, but she's certainly one of the top 4, top 5 people I was really excited to see in this thing.
Yeah, awesome to see her. We know she's signed, so the name change does not surprise me at all. It's what they do. Going to be interesting what her character is going to be and all that. So I'm excited to see who they pair up with and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, more names being added, and I'm sure this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk about names being added to Slammiversary. That's right. We have 2 more names, Murafuji and, of course, Ishimori will be a part of that show. What do you think about that, Sean?
That's part of that all the promotions we work with tag match that they're doing for the tag titles. So, we already found out that Hijo de Fantasma and Drago is representing AAA, and now we get the no representatives that have been rumored. Really awesome that, of course, Murafuji's already in the United States, so this makes it much easier for him to do this show. But awesome that you get one of the big guys from Noah to show up. Of course, he's done TNA before as well, so that's and Ishimori, of course, one of their best juniors. So that's awesome that both of them are going to be there.
One of their longest tenured juniors, too, is Taji Ishimori. So that'll be really cool to see him. And of course, I mean, if you never heard of Murafuji before, he's been like the Noah guy for a long time. Whether he was in the junior division during the early aughts or whether he moved after the move to heavyweight when everybody started bailing on Noah. He's just a phenomenal wrestler. I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. That tag match actually looks pretty good. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, it looks to be really fun, for sure. And all those names being mixed in, I mean, it's just going to be great. So we'll see. We'll see how that all turns out. We're talking about Impact Wrestling. Let's go ahead and let everybody know that, something, Paul, that you were super excited about, I know, and you just cannot wait to hear this piece of news. Impact Wrestling is officially acquired, or they officially acquired GFW.
What? Big news happening? What?
I couldn't wait for your response. I just... it's official, though. I mean, now Jeff Jarrett can really hold his head high. Come on, Paul. Think about that.
I will say this kind of matters because if they can bring in all those other working relationships that GFW had, you might be able to see a lot of different talents from across the world show up in Impact, and that could be kind of cool.
Well, we know they don't have the one with New Japan anymore. So
right.
That's I still remember that board of GFW being on that board with ROH and RevPro, and that just never happened. But I think Gallus Anderson showed up for like the TV taping, and then that was it.
They did some of the house shows too.
Oh, that's true, yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, Jeff Jarrett gets an official position now, Chief Creative Officer. Good for him. He keeps finding a way to stay in wrestling. He's, in their board of managers, and I just love this. The official name for the portion of Anthem that runs Impact is Anthem Wrestling Exhibitions. Look, you're not any better than... You basically just said wrestling entertainment, but you put exhibitions instead. That's whatever, guys. Whatever. But, we knew this was happening on TV, so why not make it an announcement in corporate?
I just can't wait to watch Slammiversary. Karen Jarrett is going to be so big.
God. Stop it with Karen Jarrett. You're making me really go back on that.
Anyway, let's talk about something else that I really want to get Paul's, knowledge on and see what he thinks about. Paul, we're still getting, more rumors out there and a little bit of word out there going on again that there are some concerns over Lucha Underground and their future. I mean, this is kind of weird, but then again, not so weird. They're still in that influx stage.
Yeah, I mean, from what we're hearing is that the feeling is that El Rey is never going to cancel the show, but that the people that are ponying up the money for it might bail on it because they're not making any money. Shocker. And to that end, it does kind of stink, but I mean, it's such a good show. I understand that you're in this to make money and all that good stuff, but I'd really love to see this stick around. I kind of hope it doesn't go away. I know the talent's getting pissed off too because they obviously want to negotiate with other different places, and they can't do that because they're all locked in on these long-term contracts because people were thinking this was going to be a big deal, and it kind of has been to an extent, right? I mean, if it does die, I think the legacy for Lucha Underground is a pretty strong one, right? I mean, it introduced us so many different wrestlers and opened the doors for a lot of different people to sort of step up onto a bigger stage that didn't exist before this show showed up.
Oh yeah, I mean, just so many. Like, you know, who unless you watch AAA, who would have known Phoenix and you know, Penta and just
Drago, Aerostar.
So I mean, you wouldn't have known that you could use the bathroom as a set piece for filming promos. I mean, Dario Cueto is.
Yeah, we would have missed the gift of Dario. Like that would have been so sad.
Like you know, you would have never known that a former, when NXT was nothing, diva Maxine can turn into this vixen of a wonderful character in Katrina. I mean, just I could have gone without having to hear Matt Striker again, but you know, even Vampiro got to come back. So there's just so many positives to Lucha Underground, and showing that you can do wrestling in such a weird and you know, special way, like doing it like a movie and having it on screen, and just it's gonna be sad if. I'm just surprised, like, the Sci-Fi Channel hadn't said, "Oh my God, we got to have this." Like, the hell, I understand that it's Comcast probably would not allow another wrestling promotion to be on one of their channels, but damn, if they weren't, it just seems like that's such right up their alley.
I mean, they did make it on Netflix. It would be really neat if Netflix decided to pick this up going forward. I don't know how strong the views and numbers are for the show, but.
You know, you could release them, people. It'd be nice to know.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would love Netflix to have, you know, all their material and make it that open to people where everybody can find it very easily, and it's not a problem. And I think especially with the fans that maybe used to love wrestling when it was just a little bit more grittier and, you know, really aren't fans of what WWE's is putting out there with the family-friendly stuff, they could definitely tune into Lucha Underground and get some of the stuff that they used to enjoy and get more, you know, especially if you're a sci-fi fan or if you just love blood and guts. I mean, my God, Cage, you know, makes heads explode. So I mean,
he sure does.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, and I think people's heads would explode if they really realized that Lucha Underground is out there, because I think they'd love it. So, anyway, well, hopefully people do go check it out. I definitely don't want anything happening to Lucha Underground. I want it to stay around forever myself. So let's just see if they can get things straightened out. One last thing before we head out of quick hits, guys. We got to talk some BOLA. That's right. 2017 is here, and they have some of the names that are going to be a part of this. Sean, you want to run through some of these names or some of the highlights?
Well, we just talked about one of them. Mr. Phoenix is on this as well. Desmond Xavier, Walter, who I've heard a lot about. Still need to watch some more of his stuff. Travis Banks, Flamita from Dragon Gate. Also had a little short stint in Lucha Underground as well. Keith Lee, which I'm sure will be amazing in this tournament. And Donovan Dijak. Hopefully Dijak and Keith Lee get to go at it again, because every time they do, it is awesome. And that makes 7. There's usually anywhere from, like 16 to 20 in this, so lots more names.
I think they usually hover around 16 to 24, because they do 3 nights. I want to say it's more than that, but at any rate, like, the names are, like, this is always a who's who of the top independent talent that used to just span North America. Now it's sort of petered out to the world at large because of all the different areas that have sort of started picking up hot indie scenes like the UK and like Europe and so many other places. Like Big Van Walter, obviously, is what he used to be known as before. He just changed it all to the stylized Walter. Is a great grappler from West Side Extreme Wrestling in Germany. Big he's just a big dude who can wrestle with some of the best of them. Travis Banks is another UK standout. Flamita, you might be a bit more familiar with if you're a Dragon Gate fan. If not, he's another guy who just loves the flippies, who went down to Mexico and was endlessly influenced by all that and brought that back home. And, if you're not watching Keith Lee at this point, I don't know if we can be friends because he's become one of the most must-see people on the independent circuit today. He's just an incredible talent, and same for Donovan Dijak and Desmond Xavier. Just incredible talents.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why these guys are a part of this Battle of Los Angeles 2017. And, my goodness, it's just these great names just spell out to be, a really exciting show on our hands, I think. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see this take place. So, once again, I think they're knocking it out of the park. And I'm, really hoping and wishing that we can see this sooner than later. And I know it takes time, especially, with it being, it's just a sad thing you have to wait for the DVD. So, but anyway, that is quite quick hits for us tonight. Of course, want to let everybody know that we are going to be talking some Slammiversary tonight. We're also going to be getting into the G1 USA show, which I'm really excited about hearing Paul and Sean's thoughts on that. That's going to be a lot of fun to hear. And of course, don't forget, we're of course going to announce a superstar of this week. So lots of great content coming your way. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and jump into some Lucha Underground next? That's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to. We got a double dose of it tonight, so let's go ahead and do that right after this.
Oh, dang it. I think I don't have the Lucha Underground thing in here. So.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Well, Paul, do you want to take this one away and let's get into this Lucha Underground stuff?
Let's do it. So we open this show with a whole bunch of recaps, which are, very grateful for because, once again, they took a long time in between the parts of the season. And a lot of this stuff I was a little spacey on before they reminded me. So we open with Mil Muertes meditating in front of his altar. Katrina walks in, and she pretty much wants her charge to destroy everybody in the Cueto Cup and win it for her so he can get back to winning the Lucha Underground Championship. And Mil calls her his love. And we know, of course, that Sami Callihan's character, Jeremiah Crane, has a romantic interest with Katrina, and they very nicely remind you that Katrina does not love Mil Muertes. She is simply using him. And we'll see some more from this later on in the evening. But the plot thickens here. It's maybe a love triangle. I don't know.
Yeah, I think something like this is kind of, important to do because they've touched on this before, right? This is not the first time they've kind of touched on something like this, and especially when you tell that, Muertes cares more about her than she does about him. So I like it. It adds a new layer, and it's something they touched on, but I think it's great that they're keep continuing it.
Yeah, for sure. And then we get to the match where Mil Muertes pretty much murders this poor guy, Vieno, for about a minute and a half. Lots of big punches and stuff like that. Of course, Vieno is Ricky Reyes in disguise, working, of course, the undercover cock gimmick now. And he just gets beat into oblivion, eats a chokeslam, eats a flatliner. Mil moves on to the next round.
Yeah, really there's nothing big here, but it's kind of something you expected, right? Because of the beginning, you understand that he's out for that mission, and he's going to do what he can to get his love what she wants. So there you go.
Yeah, and then we get this really, really fun encounter between Paul London, who is, of course, head of the Rabbit Tribe, taking on Vibora, who is the absolutely ginormous human being playing as part of the Serpent Tribe, who, of course, is one-third of the Lucha Underground Trios champions now. And we actually get some interference from the Rabbit Tribe. They sort of run in and distract Vibora for a little bit, and then very quickly exit to the ring and hide underneath it. And as Vibora is on the outside after sort of doing a move on Paul London, the Saltador and oh Jesus, I'm forgetting his name, but his Spanish name translates to bad luck. Mala Suerte. They hold their feet down, and Paul London wins by countout.
Yeah. I love this because, they go into the ring and it's like, okay, I get it. The rabbit's going into the hole,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of a funny thing that they did. And I know it sounds stupid, but it just works. It's kind of like a pun or something. But no, I kind of like this. I mean, I know it's not fair. But that's what's great about Paul London and the Rabbit Tribe is they can pull it off very well. And to have them win in this fashion, it just makes all the sense in the world. So I was okay with it. I think it worked out the way it needed to work out. And, for some reason, I really do like the Rabbit Tribe. I'm down with them.
Yeah, they're just a fun little group, right? And there's so many little nods to other things. Obviously, Alice in Wonderland, and there's a lot of drug references involved in this too. So it's very interesting, and they're just a fun little group. And this obviously sets up a trios title match down the road, for sure. So, and then we get our third match of the evening as Taya takes on Joey Ryan. This is actually pretty fun. I know not everybody's a fan of intergender wrestling, but this is a pretty solid example of it. Taya ends up winning here after Northern Lights into a double stomp to put Joey Ryan away. But there's some fun little bits here and there thrown in. I don't think this overstated its welcome all that much because I honestly, Taya's she's a mediocre wrestler, if you ask me. And Joey Ryan is always been more sizzled than steak too. But it's a really fun match for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to say it. Because I kind of thought I was going to come in here and really underplay or undersell this match. And since you said that, I can totally say what I wanted to say, and that is this was okay. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't super thrilled or blown away. Had no problem with Taya winning. Hey, this is Lucha Underground. That happens. So it makes sense. And then you got a guy like Joey Ryan who's so well versed in intergender wrestling. I mean, we've seen him do it over and over again. So he does a good job. So I think they put on a good match. There's nothing wrong with the match. It just doesn't blow you away. And you still have that Lucha Underground feel of, they make it feel like, she deserves the victory, which she does. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad for Taya.
Absolutely. They've really invested a lot in Taya as a character, too. So this makes sense. And Joey Ryan is sort of in the background, I think, waiting for his turn, as he's obviously involved in the whole undercover cop deal, too. Mil Muertes has changed clothes. He's back to his awesome suit, and there's nothing that looks cooler than a luchador wearing his mask and a killer suit. And, of course, he's hanging out in everybody's favorite backstage area, the bathroom. And as he's making his exit, Jeremiah Crane jumps out and attacks him and tells him that she's his, obviously referring to Katrina, and beats him down with a chair, and then holds one, folds it out over his throat, and smacks it down over Mule's neck. So I don't know if he's dead or not, but he obviously tried to kill him.
Yeah. There's nothing like woman scorn, is there, Paul? Oh, my goodness.
Temptation, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's just so in love. It's like Cruel Intentions or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, it's something else. Once again, I was kind of waiting to get to this because of the fact that, this guy is supposed to basically run to this whole tournament, and now in his situation, probably won't be able to do that, first of all. Not only that, is he dead? And, this also takes away his ability to speak, I'm sure, for I don't know how long. It's got to. Mm-hmm. So who knows? I think it's an interesting addition to the story, and I like that.
Absolutely, yeah. This kind of takes center stage a little bit on this show too, because there's a lot of segments dedicated to it. But this feels like they're trying to make this into a big deal, and I can appreciate that. And something else they're trying to make into a big deal is this big championship match between Johnny Mundo and Rey Mysterio, which the sport build continues as they have interviews with Cage, Chavo, Prince Puma, and Matt Stryker about both guys, how they feel about them, how they feel about the match, and who's going to win. And it's just super well done. This is another thing Lucha Underground does very well is video packages.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we could sit here and talk 45 minutes on how great they do when it comes to production and the way they build things through those video packages. I think they're right up there with WWE, if you ask me. I mean, they're not hokey. They're not. Sometimes they can be, but they're not purposely hokey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they actually go for that kind of stuff, then that's what they're going for. In this type of situation, they do a great job of building, like you're saying here, and really selling us on the goal here, and that's talking about this big matchup that's really important. And I appreciate it. So, kudos to them once again, just proving us right that they're great.
Absolutely. And then we get to our main event, and this killer main event between Jeremiah Crane and his opponent Killshot, who also got a segment earlier in the evening where, or a reminder, of course, that him and AR Fox, known as Dante Fox here in Lucha Underground, have some past issues. They're both in the military together. Dante Fox was apparently killed in action, but he believes Killshot left him behind. We see Dante pop up and say that this isn't over between them to distract Killshot, and Crane ends up winning with the cranial contusion. But these guys, all the way up before the finish, are just out there throwing bombs on each other, just absolutely destroying each other. The guy under the mask, Killshot, Shane Strickland, is just an absolutely stellar talent. He's so good. And of course, Sami Callihan is just on a mission to prove that he was mishandled in NXT, as he just I love watching him, especially in matches like this where they're just rushes to murder each other. He's so good at those.
Oh, for sure. I mean, just a super amazing talent. I mean, this is a guy that really I never knew when he was in WB. I mean, honestly. So, I mean, it's a breath of fresh air to see him at this level, and even on Lucha Underground, what he does. And I think he's a blast to watch. I think this whole thing overall was entertaining and just full of, great highlights. So, I mean, I was thrilled with it. I think they, did a good job with the whole thing.
Absolutely. This is, if you haven't watched Lucha Underground this week, or if you haven't watched it before, Jeremiah Crane and Killshot is a match to watch. It's super good. And then after everything's over, Katrina shows up with her magical stone, holds it in the air, and Jeremiah Crane blows her a little kiss as they sort of stare at each other. So at least the live audience now knows that this is a thing. And then we cut to the backstage area where Dario is talking to somebody as he's updating his big board in his office. And he's talking to somebody who goes by the name of Son of Madness and will be facing Son of Havoc next week. And appears to be his evil doppelganger or something like that. He's from the same place. And the man underneath that hood is Johnny Goodtime, which, if you're a PWG fan, should sound very familiar to you. He's another really fun worker too. So I'm looking forward to that match and the intrigue this is going to bring out, because now they have something for Son of Havoc to do besides sit in his mom's basement and eat bagel bites.
Which is not a bad gig.
No, I mean,
I'm sure it is nice to get out of the house. So
absolutely. And that's Lucha Underground for the week.
Yeah, and lots of entertaining stuff. I mean, really, honestly, going on to Lucha Underground, they've done a great job of getting you through this tournament, but not just putting on the tournament. Allowing you to have some other storylines mixed in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's exciting about it, and I know, it's just a show. Sometimes we don't have a ton to talk about sometimes because it does go so quick, but they're very precise, and you really only have a few things to get into. It's just so entertaining to watch, though. It's more about what you enjoy. That's what's cool about Lucha Underground overall. When you could talk to 5 different people to watch the same episode, and they all like it for different reasons. So we just really hope that you all go check it out if you're not already watching it. So. Yeah, so that's Lucha Underground. Well, next we got G1. I think we should jump into. Sean and Paul are going to talk about, New Japan hopping over here to the States this weekend and doing a show here and really, kicking off a really great event. I'm really looking forward to these two guys talking about this. So why don't we do that now? Let's hop over and talk New Japan.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
All right. So, New Japan, of course, doing their shows in Long Beach there. I know plenty of people from that Japanese group that we're both in are going, and they are super excited to be at that show. A little bit jealous, if I could say.
Plus, my Facebook has just been a flood of pictures of all the Japanese talent running around Long Beach, and there's a great picture of Okada, Ishii, and I'm forgetting the third, but they're all at an In-N-Out burger, and Ishii is just like big eye staring at these burgers on this tray in front of him. It's so funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, so of course there are plenty of draws for this show. Of course, one of them being that they're in frickin' the United States by themselves without ROH having to be on the marquee. But there's a big NJPW IWGP US title that has a tournament that's going to go over 2 days here. And there are some pretty juicy matchups to talk about. There's also some title matches in this, but let's start. Of course, you wouldn't have New Japan without some tag matches, right? It's just customary for New Japan to do. So you have the Bullet Club contingent of Bad Luck Fale, Marty Scurll, the Young Bucks, and Yujiro. Yes, Yujiro made the trip over. That one Yujiro fan that we know exists from the Japanese wrestling group, I'm sure is absolutely pumped at this. And of course you get the Chaos team of Roppongi Vice, the Briscoes, and Will Ospreay.
I'm sure most people are hoping that Yujiro brought the bunny lady with him. I'm sure that's high up on some want lists there, but this was probably going to be a really fun opening tag, right? You got a lot of guys who could do flips. You got Yujiro and Fale in there. You have the fun with Rocky and, of course, Trent Beretta being his amazing self that he's been all year. I'm gonna go with Chaos to win this one to add some intrigue to what's going to go down on the next night, and that's, of course, the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match.
Yeah, I'll go with Chaos as well. Get things going for the faces to start things on a good note, even though you've got a lot of talent in there for the Bullet Club that the fans do also like, the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll. So I'm sure there will be a lot of dual chanting during this match. Some more dual chanting that will be going on is in the second tag match here. It wouldn't be a New Japan show without the Los Ingobernables tag match, and this is that. You get the Bushi Evil, Hiromu Takahashi, and Sonata against the team of Dragon Lee, Jushin Thunder Liger, Titan, and Volador Jr. I love Titan, and Volador is always great, so they already have me won over here with the 3/4 of CMLL and Liger team.
Yeah, Liger pairing up with all of the Luchadors and LIJ on the other side of the ring. This is going to be magical. That's all I can really say. Such great talent in the ring, and I like LIJ to win here. But, I mean, really the winners are going to be everybody in that building because there's going to be 10,000 flips and palm strikes for days.
Yes, everybody will go nuts to see Liger. This is going to be a pretty awesome moment. I think LIJ winds up stealing this as they usually do in these tag matches. So we will now move on as they're going to do U.S. title matches in between and then do some more tags here. There's also some title matches on this show. So you have Hangman Page and Jay Lethal 2 ROH personalities going against each other for the U.S. title. Two men that also had grueling matches on the pay-per-view that just took place for ROH. So this should be interesting.
For sure, and it'll be really interesting to see if all the work that Silas Young did on Jay Lethal after their match carries over, as the commentary said, maybe trying to sabotage his chances of winning here. I kind of hope Lethal does come out all taped up, and if he does, then this is obviously, I think this is going to go Hangman Page's way, and maybe what many might consider an upset.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be thinking that Jay Lethal would go forward here, but certainly it seems like you're not going to build all this up so that Jay Lethal doesn't come out taped up and all that. We're going to hope that the story continues here. Hangman Page will get the win to, start the thing off with an upset, even though you could certainly, because you just have strong matches everywhere for the other ones. So this one would be the one where you go, okay, well, we've seen Jay Lethal many times. He does good things for New Japan, but he's a huge name in ROH, and to have Page beat him, that would be a feather in his cap, certainly. And then you get this fun match of Juice Robinson and Zack Sabre Jr. This should be some fantastic stuff. They are in opposite blocks in the G1, so they will not face off again unless somehow both of them got to the final, which is not happening. But, these guys can dream. But this match should be tons of great stuff. I think Juice going forward makes sense here.
I think Juice makes sense just because this is New Japan, but on the flip side of that, you brought Zack Sabre Jr. in for a reason. I don't think you're going to have a better opportunity of putting him over in a place that's very familiar with him in Los Angeles, and watching Zack Sabre just be absolutely ruthless as he ties poor Juice up and try to let Juice mount a comeback and maybe fall a little bit short, I think is kind of the way this might go. So I'm going to pick Zack Sabre Jr. to win here, but I would not be surprised if this goes Juice's way.
Yeah, I mean, either guy, as you mentioned before, Zack Sabre Jr. has so many titles. Having another one would not be out of place for him. Somebody that travels around regularly, so you can have him going with that title to places and even defending it. Whereas Juice Robinson is sort of, he does, U.S. indie dates here and there, but he's certainly much more of a, does the New Japan tours and everything. Would they want to leave him as one of the guys that kind of sticks around in the U.S. To have that title? I don't know, but I could definitely see Juice moving on here. And then you get the Taguchi Japan without Taguchi, which is weird. David Finlay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kushida are that contingent, and Jay White. So Finlay and Jay White get to pair up again, which is always fun to see. Against the other two young lions and the Tempura Boys, Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu. I think it's been a long, long time since those four have been in the ring together. And, of course, the Hunter Club. Oh, God. Billy Gunn and Yoshitatsu. Just, Billy Gunn's probably winning because of the match on the next night, but still. Ugh.
I don't know.
Why?
Yeah. I'm leaning more towards Taguchi Japan just because I think, and it won't have anything to do with the fall with Tanahashi or Billy Gunn, obviously, but you might get some teases here and there. But I like Jay White or David Finlay to get the pinfall over one of the guys here just because we see Jay White so much more often on Ring of Honor TV. I feel like he's got big things in store for him whenever he does head back to New Japan. David Finlay, obviously another one of those big guys, and Kushida, of course, has his own 3 championships that he can tote around right now. And we just haven't seen a lot of the Tempura Boys recently in Ring of Honor, and that's kind of a shame because I do like both of these guys, but I think I'm going to take the Taguchi Japan contingent here.
Fair enough, yeah. This is one that can certainly go either way. So it'd be interesting what they decide to do here. Of course, a tag match that matters a lot more here. Guerrillas of Destiny defending the IWGP tag titles against War Machine. These two put on what I thought was a pretty good match at Dominion. I think you can expect the same here.
I'm looking forward to another really, really fun brawl. Hopefully with a much better finish this go-around, too. But I'm expecting the Guerrillas to retain here. Just one, because Tama Tonga's in the G1, and it'd be cool to maybe see him build up a little bit of momentum going towards that. But two, if War Machine hasn't signed one way or the other yet, there's no way they're getting championships put on them right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Guerrillas of Destiny retaining, just because, it's possible they could just sign when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say that they don't. Guerrillas of Destiny have had it before. They've shown they can carry them. They've gotten better as time's gone on. Tama Tonga was already pretty good as it was, but Loa's gotten better the more time he's spent there. So I don't think it's bad if they get to keep him. Sucks for War Machine. They were such great champs.
Yeah. Do you think there's a production note there for Access TV to have their finger over the bleep button for this one?
Or perhaps they have to learn to not curse so much being on US TV. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure that delay is on if you're Access TV. One where you might get a different kind of disrespect with Tetsuya Naito and Tomohiro Ishii. These guys have gone at it plenty of times before. Always fantastic stuff. And I feel like this is Naito going over Ishii here. Sadly, I wish it'd be Ishii, but this seems like Naito's at least getting past round one.
I don't know. My bias is kicking in. I'm pretty sure I picked Ishii to win in the preview that we're doing for the website, so I'm going to stick with that. I love Tomohiro Ishii to bits. I would like to see him move on. I think there's so many more fun matchups for him in this, and there's probably those with Naito that you might want to save, even though I would absolutely be down for another Naito-Elgin match. The prospect of Elgin and Ishii just beating the crap out of each other in the finale is something I really want to see. Yeah,
definitely would love to see that again, Elgin and Ishii. And Elgin and Naito was fantastic too, so not going to lie, either one of those matches would be great. I've heard people talk about Naito should just win and he throws the belt in the river. Or that was Tom. He said Naito should just throw the belt in the river because there's nowhere they can really defend this title. And I could see them definitely bringing on New Japan shows and stuff like that, but they could also defend it on Lionsgate shows and whatnot if they don't have the stuff going for the U.S. yet after this. But it's just, I don't know. To me, it feels like Naito's at least, if he's not getting to the final, that's surprising.
I think they might just do a big LIJ tag match for Night 2. Obviously, the card hasn't been set for Night 2 because of all the championship ramifications that you could have going down. That might shuffle the card and all this other stuff. So, I think Naito losing here wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially for Ishii, who I think really needs a spotlight. Like he's been sort of shoved to the background. And outside, I mean, obviously he's great during the New Japan Cup earlier this year, but since then we haven't seen a whole lot from Mr. Pitbull, and I would absolutely love to see more of him. So hopefully this is his opportunity to get another spotlight.
Yeah, we'll see. He's definitely going to put everybody on notice here with that. If you haven't watched him before, you're going to love him after that match. And of course, we would be remiss if we don't talk about what's been a feud that's kind of been on and off, and it's been wonderful every time they have a match. Michael Elgin and Kenny Omega.
Oh boy, I don't know if Long Island's ready, but this match, like you said, has been stellar every time. Their feud over the Intercontinental title was great. Of course, it ended with that ladder match, and man, was that something to remember too. So I like I was talking about earlier, I like Elgin to win here. Kenny is above this championship by leaps and bounds and miles, and he's involved in other things. And it'd be really cool to see the carryover of him maybe still being, just worn out from his encounter with Okada a couple weeks ago. So I think that would be a nice touch, and maybe something that plays into how Elgin comes out the winner. Or maybe just Elgin has Kenny's number. That could be something to bring up down the line if Kenny does find his way to IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, I think definitely probably Elgin's going over here. You got bigger plans for Omega unless they don't, and maybe he wins just to give him something to keep him occupied for now. There's something that says it has to be the Intercontinental title that he defends. Actually, if you think about it, if he's defending that title at, say, a Wrestle Kingdom against somebody, many think it's going to be Ibushi, what a spotlight that title gets, right?
Right.
So, he could definitely, he could beat Elgin, no doubt, but I just feel like Elgin being a guy that, again, has the Glory Pro thing here, he has a foothold in the United States. I kind of think they don't want to keep Omega too much around here, just because, WWE continues to, put those feelers out there and stuff like that. But this could go either way. I still think Elgin's winning, though. And then we go to night 2, which the first night will air live on Axis and JR, and
we're not going to talk about the heavyweight title match?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. Yes, so okay, this is the match that is in very much in contention about what's going to happen because Cody is not in the G1, and does that mean that they're going to have no champion in the G1 for the first time in a long time? Or is this just a way to give Cody a big match in the USA, to, prop up the card and everything? This could go either way. Cody and Kazuchika Okada for this title. I think I had Cody picked for a long while. Just because I feel like it's hard to say you just won the ROH title and then you lose. But then, of course, it all depends on how you lose. But I feel like you're not going to want your champion not in the G1. So I'm going to say Okada.
I've liked Okada in this from the start. I think this will be a really fun match. I love Cody. I know not everybody does. I love Okada, and I think the two of them will work together very well and find themselves in a terrific match. And you hear so much talk about how much New Japan wants Cody to sort of be their golden boy as far as the US is concerned and all that. And that's fine, but winning the IWGP Championship, I don't think does that for you. I think you want to leave it on Okada right now, just because you do have to worry about your future draws and all that, and not having your champion in the G1 might affect draw. It might affect a whole bunch of other stuff, especially moving forward down the road at post G1. So I like Okada to win here too, even though the story implications of Cody winning would be really fun. I don't think that's what New Japan has in mind right here, but they sure are making a lot of people think about it, and I think that's what's really cool about this.
Yeah, there's so many people that are just frightened to death that Cody could win, and the whole sky is going to be falling, and every other phrase that you could say of doom. Just I almost kind of wanted to have it just to see the world explode, but
internet would just melt down.
Yeah,
and it's just. It would not be a fun place, guys. It really wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be crazy. But yeah, it's so hard to think that. Look, it is quite possible. The story is there for Okada to lose here, but that is a lot to pull that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Ghetto is the one you were talking about being the In-N-Out Burger with Ishii and Okada. I'm just seeing this picture.
Oh, okay.
It's man, Ishii looks like he's about to.
He's about to do
my
some
mouth is watering.
Yeah.
Please let me eat now. So we're going on to that night 2, and there's some title matches on this show that are also very interesting as well. You got the Young Bucks taking on Roppongi Vice for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. These guys put on a show every single time. Should not expect anything less. Think the Young Bucks are retaining here.
Right there with you. Young Bucks definitely retaining. But you're right. Both of these matches that they've had this year at Wrestle Kingdom and Dominion have been fantastic. Beretta has just been on fire this year. Rocky Romero, of course, always brings in. You know what you're getting from the Young Bucks, but this being in the USA, in Long Island, in California, where the Young Bucks are from, where they're pretty much headquartered at where they live, they're going to go the extra mile to try to make this special, I feel like. And this could really be a match on this show that steals the entire thing.
Yeah, man, if we're not talking about a great match from these two, something went wrong, because it's always, just always great stuff here. And I hope we get the same. And something I don't know that we can say the same about is Hiroshi Tanahashi defending the Intercontinental Championship against Billy Gunn, of all people.
Oh, boy.
Well, this could be good.
It could be. It could be an absolute train wreck. It could be the moment we all realize that Hiroshi Tanahashi might be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time if he carries Billy Gunn to something north of 3.5.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Tanahashi's winning here, but this is just going to be a spectacle to see in its own right. Right? I just Billy Gunn and Tanahashi. My mind still can't put it together.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the Kitamura and Billy Gunn matchup too after their stare down. So
yeah.
But yeah, the power game is there for him to use on Tanahashi. Of course, with the injured bicep, how much is that going to get played up by Tanahashi, which he always does a great job of. You know, it's so crazy how many times Tanahashi gets injured around the time that it's a G1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you wonder sometimes if he's playing these up a little bit, just to have something to work off of in his matches, which I wouldn't be surprised at all. But he's so good at doing that Billy Gunn could take advantage and maybe really put Tanahashi in peril to make you think Gunn could win. But who knows? This could also end in like 5 minutes. But I don't think so with the small amount of matches on this card. I'd imagine that they're expecting each one of these matches to go on the long route. And then, of course, you have your semifinals, which you have it's either Page and Lethal against, Elgin and Omega? Or I forgot the bracket. Okay.
Yeah.
We both had Page here. I think that's a win. That's another reason why they may not have Omega's two Bullet Club guys against each other. Not that it's not unheard of before. It happens in tournaments all the time where they have to face each other. But Elgin beating Page seems like a done thing.
Absolutely, yeah, done deal for sure. No matter how this draw came out, Elgin's making it to the finals in this tournament for just, no doubt. It's a no-brainer, I think, at this point.
Yeah, certainly. And then you get Naito or Ishii against Juice Robinson or Zack Sabre Jr. Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. would be really, really interesting. We've seen Naito and Juice before. That was pretty damn good. Everything being said. Ishii against either guy is also going to be tremendous. I had Naito Juice. I think Naito's getting to this final here after another close one for Juice. What did you got?
I have Ishii and Sabre, if my predictions are correct, in this one. And I'm going to have Ishii winning it, but if it's Ishii and Sabre, that could really go either way. Just because we still don't exactly know the plans for Zack Sabre Jr. in New Japan right now, because he's only had like 2 or 3 matches there that have made New Japan World. So, and it seems like he's kind of being molded in the same vein as Minoru Suzuki and like a junior torture device almost. So, without being a junior heavyweight. So, I'm interested in no matter which way this goes about. I mean, Ishii and Juice would be another phenomenal match, too, if that's the way they go here, too. Just, that's some big guys doing some brawling right there.
Yeah, just either way, whatever matchup we get from that pairing is going to be tremendous. And, of course, then you have the final, which for me would be Naito and Elgin. I think, look, it's very possible that you have Elgin win. Neither one of these men would be from America, so that would be interesting to have the first U.S. title as won by a non-American. Not the first time that we've seen something like that, but I think Naito wins to put him on to have him have another belt that he can toss around. But I mean, this could go either way. I mean, it would be tremendous if Ishii won too. I would not complain at all about that.
I think this championship has had Elgin's name written on it since it came out of the mint or the press or the forge or wherever championships come from. But I think this belt goes around Elgin's waist. He has a lot of opportunities to defend it all over the country just because he works so many indie dates, not to mention Glory Pro and, of course, obviously New Japan. And I think he'd be a great first champion.
Yeah, he would be. I'd have no problem with Elgin getting to defend that title. He's been great in New Japan. Whether he goes around and defends it elsewhere would also work for him. There's a lot of possibilities for winning this title, and I really love this tournament pairings that they've put here. Expecting some terrific matches. It's just great stuff. They've also released, I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into this because we talked about the main events, but they did release the full schedule of G1 matches for all the days. I don't know if you want to just do this in like little groups here or whatnot. I like what you get here at the end too. Of you can see where some of these like spoiler territory might happen, or like who's here to just screw with to make sure that person doesn't win. I like how all that's set up. Speaking of, you do get if you don't get it in that tournament, you're going to get it on the last day of the A block, Ishii and Zack Sabre Jr. So that's going to be tremendous. Does anything stand out here?
I mean, looking here at the end, and maybe we should note that the last 2 nights are going to have English commentary on them for people who plan on watching these. So that's a nice little tidbit. But I always look at the start of the tournament, especially night 1 for sure, because that's where most of your upsets happen. They try to set a good pace and all that other good stuff. So. Looking at night 1, I mean, Ibushi and Naito. I mean, Ibushi could win that one to start the upset train early. Same with Sabre and Tanahashi. You look at the other night too with Suzuki and Omega, Sonata, Evil, Okada, and Yano as well, and just Yano, Yanoing Okada on the first night. What a way to start off the tournament, right?
Well, I mean, we've seen with Ishii, if you're in his stable, you don't get a title match. So I guess it wouldn't matter at all if Yano just Yano'd Okada. Especially if he's, he's had time to rest. So I guess it just depends. You could also have Okada just killing Yano in about a minute if he, comes in without the title or something.
Very true.
But, maybe Tama Tonga upsets Michael Elgin. That's something there. It's Ishii and Goto on the first night. My God. They are setting us up for watching a death match happen in front of us.
I like it. I like it a lot. Those are two of my favorites. It's a match I'm looking forward to seeing. Yuji Nagata and Yoshihashi also on that first night too should be something fantastic. And Zack Sabre Jr. locking horns with Tanahashi might be the stuff that dreams are made of.
Oh yeah, because if Tanahashi wants to, he can get into that grapple fest a little bit too. So that should be definite fun going on. But you can go check out the big schedule for yourself. I know Voice of Wrestling is doing their Pick'em thing, which we always participate in every year. So you can go sign up for that over there, and they have cool prizes, and just you get to see your whole ranking and think you're an expert at this, and then within a couple of days, bam,
you're not.
You're entire.
Yeah, you're not. You're never an expert.
Ghetto has his ways. It's like sometimes I think he looks at that thing and goes, "Oh, you have this person winning? Nope, not happening."
Middle of the pack finish for the favorite.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's all the New Japan for. I know you weren't here when we talked about it last week, but just really, really sad news for Shibata. Just, ugh.
Yeah, just a tall mountain for him to climb, and hopefully he can just be well enough to live a good life, right? I mean, the sight thing is something apparently that's been there for a long time, but now all the trauma to his head and everything like that, it's just, if he does manage by some miracle to wrestle again, then good luck to him. But let's just focus on being well right now, and we can worry about trying to get back into a ring at a later date.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, man, it was so tough to hear that stuff, and we all want the best for Shibata. He's entertained us for so long, and it's time for him to get to where he can live a comfortable life. So,
breaking news here. It's very possible the Shining Stars might be done with WWE. Not that it's anything big or whatever, but
I hear Puerto Rico's nice this time of year, guys.
Yeah, they still owe us that trip.
They do. They sure do.
They do, and we can all stay with Sean's sister if that happens. So
yeah, well, you could.
No, I was just kidding. But yeah, your sister is there now, so she may be visiting with them soon enough. So
exactly.
But yeah. Wow, breaking news on that. It's kind of bittersweet in a way. Well, guys, we still got to talk some Slammiversary in this show and Crown Superstar of the Week. And before we do all that, we are going to talk about this week's Impact that does lead up to Slammiversary. So Sean is going to lead us down that path, and then I will run down this card of Slammiversary, and all three of us will give our predictions. But let's get into this week's episode of Impact, Sean, and kind of get into what happened there.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
All right, so, Impact. How we have, I don't know if I could say missed you or not missed you, but, I will say this. They did a great job of actually pimping the pay-per-view on this show. And they start that with they decide to have contract signings all at once for 4 of their biggest matches of the Women's Championship Unification match with Sienna and Rosemary, the Full Metal Mayhem mixed tag with Davey and Angelina taking on Eddie and Alicia. And the strap match, which is one of the matches I'm kind of more excited about, EC3 and James Storm. And then Bobby Lashley, Impact Wrestling Champion against the GFW Champion Alberto El Patron. They just apparently get to a point where there's too many people in the ring and they can't deal with this. So Bruce Pritchard says, look, if you guys don't start signing contracts, nobody's getting matches. And then he makes a big 8-man tag for a main event. I love how they open with a video package that says, we're not going to talk to you for 20 to 30 minutes. Well, they only talk to you for 10 minutes, but still a lot of talking. And very much the WWE style of setting up a main event match at the end. And then you have a Congo Kong gets added to the heel team. And you have Mahabali Shera getting added to the... because this is their last night in India here. Mahabali Shera gets added to the face team. So, there you go. That match that happens in the main event I thought was a good match. It's your standard tag. The face team wins to kind of, I guess, leave everybody happy before you get into the pay-per-view, as Patron does that stupid stomp on Kong for the win. But yeah.
Yeah. And before I talk about that main event match, I will say I really wasn't a fan of the way they set up all the contract signings and all that, but I get it. They're trying to do all the stuff they need to do and get it done in a normal fashion, and
could you imagine really they had 4 separate contract signings?
Yeah, but still, it still took up time. I don't think they needed to take off with something that, I don't know. I just don't think it really did anything new or extra for me, right, Sean? I mean, I really felt like watching previous weeks before. I already got the gist of everything they're talking about.
Right.
They need to spend this time to do it again. I mean, so
I did like Davey telling. I did like Davey telling Eddie that you need to kill him now because it's the only chance you're going to get. That was pretty interesting. And then EC3 and James Storm cut another very heated, very good promo that he's good at doing. And those are kind of the ones that you hear from. I like Sienna kind of told Rosemary that she's not in her head. Like, all right, Sienna, I want to see you spit fire because you keep saying that. Well, you spit mist, but I spit fire. Well, I don't know. Let's get that circus thing going. You spit the fire, Sienna.
Yeah, really. So all that stuff it is what it is, right? And they did it. That's okay. There you go. The main event, yeah, like you said, it was fine. It really was about just getting a lot of their superstars out there, having a bang-up match, letting India watch a final match that, had a good feeling at the end, right? That go home, that, the guy that we love here, Patron, won. You all should cheer and be happy and all that. I think the only other thing that really could have made him happy is, Mahabali Shera winning and doing it for India. But, I mean, Patron was the guy that they needed to win for their sake. So it was good. I mean, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed the main event.
Yeah, I enjoyed the main event. It's pretty good. You had the interaction between all of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what you need. You get a little bit of the heat on the guy, whoever's in the match with each other, and it's a nice way without having to have singles matches or whatever to get things moving and everybody going against each other for those big matches, and I'm fine with that. Standard wrestling thing that works. That's why they keep doing it in wrestling. I did like that they had a lot of video packages for these matches. It really got you kind of hyped for them. I like the Sanjay Dutt and Low Key one as well. 2 guys that have been with that company, whether it's on and off, for a long time, going for that, for the titles there. So I'm all for it. And you also get to see a little bit of a Sanjay celebrating with his compatriots in India. Something that I kept saying that WWE really needed to do for Jinder Mahal. They did not do it. TNA definitely Impact took the initiative here and did that. Loki and Trevor Lee taking on Sanjay Dutt and Matt Sydal. This is the best match on the show. Just tremendous X Division action that goes about 14 minutes. There's like Loki blocking a move and then hitting the stomp was really awesome. Sydal getting that meteor on Trevor Lee was great too. Sydal then gets to hit that shooting star press on Trevor Lee and he wins for his team. Sanjay Dutt and Sydal go through, and this was really entertaining and the crowd liked it, and yeah, just good stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine, and I think that they got what they needed to get across with it, and what you like about these guys is the fact that they have so many talented individuals mixed in here, right? And they all showcase what they do best, and that's what's important here. And I think you were talking about Sanjay and the fact that he's not always been there, and that's fine. But, it means something for that crowd in India for Sanjay to do well. And there's so many things involved with that I think that also kind of made this better because they were in India and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, overall, a fun match to watch. I think that they have been doing a lot better job with that division overall. So I was pretty okay with it. I mean, I think it worked out to their best ability,
Yeah, certainly. Like the X Division matches have been really good and in Impact as of late, so this is just adding to that here.
What's up? But the one thing that Sean, and I'm sorry, but I cannot remember the beginning, but where does the suit come in play? Because the one thing I could never understand is wrestling in a suit the entire match. I've been thinking about this the entire time he's been doing this, and I've been like, oh my god, wow. Why is he, I don't understand. I don't remember
he's
the story
doing the Hitman gimmick.
Okay.
From the video game.
Okay.
So, he's done this on the Indies too, and in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's something that it sets him apart, right? He doesn't just look like another wrestler. I like it. It's also Hitman is just no business. He's just straight up business. He's there to assassinate you, and that's what Loki's doing. So the Hitman is a hired assassin. So,
okay, that's why I just really never got that, but I mean now I do. Now I understand it. It was just kind of something I had to ask.
So we get. I am not a fan of the football player being in a wrestling match, but whatever. D'Angelo Williams seems to have a heck of a lot more respect for, and he says this in the video that he does than Pac-Man Jones ever did when they did that crap in Impact. So Moose D'Angelo Williams taking on Eli Drake and Chris Adonis at the pay-per-view could actually be pretty decent. You get the Mumbai Cats, which they play this big old history with the Mumbai Cats, taking on Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. This is pretty much a squash, so that they can get a win heading the pay-per-view. Nothing wrong with it. Just it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to it, and at least Eli Drake wins a match. That's what's important here. And Adonis, his tag team partner, they kind of show that they're a pretty darn okay tag team. So there you go. One, a win for them. And yeah, I mean, watching D'Angelo Williams talk and see him train and all that kind of stuff, it's interesting. And I think it's kind of cool. I've always been a fan of D'Angelo Williams. I loved him when he, as part of the Steelers. Heck, I loved him when he was with the Panthers. I always was shocked that they didn't keep him around. I was thinking to myself, this guy still's got gas in the tank, but I get his age. That's the number one thing I think people look at. So he's here in wrestling,
and a huge factor.
Exactly. So let's see if he can pull a DDP on us and come in and show that hey, age is no factor. Let me get into this business and see if I can do it. So until he proves that he's going to be a Pac-Man Jones, I'm going to give him a little bit of a leeway here and see what he can do.
Yeah, certainly. Again, he's coming into this with a much better attitude than Pac-Man Jones had. So he seems to like what he's doing, has respect for wrestling, and that's very important at this point. So you have, I'm going to skip this one match for a second because it has nothing to do with pay-per-view. So Borash and was it James? Why can't I ever know? I know it's Park, but Joseph Park. Sorry,
Joseph Park. Yeah.
So Jeremy Borash, Joseph Park. Basically, Jeremy Borash is trying to get Joseph Park to find that monster inside. Because obviously, he's going against freaking Scott Steiner. And you can't have Joseph Park be wrestling Scott Steiner. It's usually not going to wind up well for you. So he gives him an Abyss action figure. And of course, Joseph Park is Abyss' brother. And that's basically, he talks about that. There you see Janice as well. And he puts a Scott Steiner action figure into Janice. And later on we find out that apparently Janice might be legal in that match. Who knows? Because Josh Matthews did not read the contract very well that he signed. Even though Josh Matthews spends half the time telling you about all these great moves that he did in 2002 or something.
Yeah, I like that little addition, though. You didn't read the contract. So I like that. It kind of adds a little something to it. And for a match that I don't think a lot of people are really honestly looking forward to, these video packages that they've done with Borash and Park have been cute. They've been funny, silly. The packages weren't so great, but I think it was kind of the cool down to, okay, we're running down here. The next time you see us, we're going to be in the ring and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. It didn't have to be the flashiest stuff or even the funniest content. But, it what it was. So, I think overall, though, if you look at the entire body of work, they did a good job. This is nowhere close to what you could get with the Broken Hardys. But this is still kind of halfway funny stuff.
Right. The women's segment is the 6-person tag that gets made earlier. It's KM, Laurel Van Ness, and Sienna against Braxton Sutter, Allie, and Rosemary. More stuff to kind of build to that match at the pay-per-view. Allie and Rosemary work really well here. Allie gets to hit a big Death Valley Driver and the Code Breaker. Rosemary, of course, hits a Red Wedding on Van Ness, who gets beat up a lot in this match, to get the win for her team. Hey, this is just a brawl with some fantastic moves here in a short time span. I think it worked.
Yeah, it worked, and I think, it got some points across, talking about this whole feud and just really, giving you an opportunity to kind of see them match up before this big pay-per-view, right? So I think that's what they were trying to do, and I think it's fine. I don't think it was anything special, though. That's the one thing I have to say, is I really didn't feel like it was something I had to see or really honestly cared about a lot. But I get it. They got to put something out there. They got to kind of find a way to kind of get this in front of your face. That way you'll be like, oh, what's the next step? So.
And then we have to have the moment where Impact is being an Impact because they can't help themselves. This Mumbai street fight between Swoggle and Rockstar Spud. Basically, is we get a lot of teasing a table. The referee gets involved because Rockstar Spud hits him, and so the referee shoves him back, and he pulls the referee's pants down. Oh god, this was so dumb. So the referee then attacks Spud, which was funny. It was just so dumb. It's like you had to laugh. And then the referee even gets Swoggle on his shoulders to hit a mini doomsday device. And then you hit Spud through the table with a Samoan drop. And this somehow went 10 minutes. My lord. I don't know how you feel about this, Gary, but just... why? You're trying to build this pay-per-view. Why?
Yeah. You know what? They've been building this, and they've really kind of made it to be where it's supposed to be funny, and I get it, but it's so cheesy, it's so hokey. You know, I mean, hey, in the spirit of things, it just makes you want to pull your pants down because everybody else is pulling their pants down. But outside of that, it's just kind of there. I mean, it's hard. It really is. It's a comedy. That's what this is all about. But it's also kind of hard to get into because I don't think that people really feel sympathetic towards Hornswoggle, especially since kind of technically I think Hornswoggle started this whole thing. It's just, to me, I think there's that likability factor. You know, Hornswoggle doesn't exactly look like the sweet little guy. He's more of a nuisance, and I think that makes it where you just don't care about what he's doing. Heck, I cared more about the little referee guy than I did Hornswoggle. So this is what it is. It's silly. It's Impact, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this was the one Impact-y thing on this show. That's your Impact Wrestling.
All right. So with that, finishing up the show before we jump into Slammiversary, let's go ahead and get Paul back on here, and let's go ahead and start breaking down this card and kind of giving our predictions and kind of talking about what we think is going to be taking place here on this big show at Slammiversary this coming up Sunday night. Let's talk about Moose and D'Angelo Williams taking on Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. Guys, I mean, this is one that I don't know if it'll be one of the most entertaining, but it could be interesting, especially with D'Angelo Williams popping in this match, not being really a long-trained wrestler. Paul, what are you thinking about this one?
I don't think there's a match on this card I care less about. I have absolutely no interest in this match at all, and I'm sure Moose and D'Angelo Williams are going to win, but I really couldn't give a fig, guys. I really couldn't.
Yeah, Moose and D'Angelo Williams are going to win. It's how much comedy they're going to do with the other two. Before then, interesting. I don't even know. This could be a squash for all we know, honestly. I'm sure there'll be a spot with Chris Adonis and the what used to be called the Master Lock and all that, but just this is made for the football team to win.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it comes down to where they have to have a little help, you know, maybe Gary Barnett shows up or some other football player and says, hey, he helped him last time, so maybe he'd come back and be a part of this too. So who knows? But it's about just having fun. And, hey, Impact saying, we got some NFL players over here. Buy tickets. So
if we need to call former football stars, let's call Mongo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's call him.
Yeah, true. I love Mongo. So
they can hype up. They have a former horseman on the show.
Yeah. I hear he's pretty overweight these days, though. Hopefully he can breathe making it down to the ring. So anyway, well, we got that exciting match that I know Sean is super stoked about. That is the Jeremy Borash and Joseph Park team against the team of Scott Steiner and that little guy called Josh Matthews. Who's going to win this one, Sean?
All I care about is that Scott Steiner is on my TV again. That's all I care about for this show. Or not for this show, for this match. Man, I feel like you can't bring Scott Steiner in and have him lose. Like, this dude does not just sit here and do jobs. I mean, now Josh Matthews could lose. Or get the pin. Like, I just feel like if this is going to be a thing for a while, I don't know if this is ending here or not, but Josh Matthews, heel team winning, makes sense.
Is anything even on the line here? Like, is their announcer's job on the line? Like, this just...
Yeah, because Josh Matthews quit before, and then he came back, and it was like nothing happened.
Yeah, this just seems utterly pointless other than to say, hey, here's Scott Steiner. That's cool, right? I honest to God don't care who wins. This feud has been so awful.
Holla if you hear me, Gary.
Yeah, and I definitely hear Paul in that one because this match is not something that's inspiring, and it's also probably been one of the most annoying things that we've had to live through watching Impact. I think, there could be the possibility of Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews winning, but I think that, somehow, some way, Borash is going to pull out that inner abyss, and Park is going to disappear, and then all of a sudden Abyss is going to come out and wreck house, and all I'm going to take away from this match is seeing Scott Steiner having nostalgia and wanting to go eat some Shoney's after it. So, so more money in Scott Steiner's pocket. Anyway, let's talk about another match that Paul probably will care less about. And I'm getting all these matches out of the way that I know Paul
Wait, how he's conflicted here. He's got a guy he doesn't care about, and then his close personal friend.
Yeah, exactly. So his close personal friend, James Storm. Oh, yeah, sorry, that's the other way. The guy hates James Storm and his close personal friend, EC3. Paul, is your boy going to do
it? Sweet dear God, I hope so. Just take a page out of what Kazarian and Hangman Page did, and just take that strap and slap James Storm in the face as hard as you can, over and over again, so I never have to hear him talk again. Like that's dream scenario.
He will be recently Hall of Famer, James Storm, as well, because of this show. So, I feel like taking out the last vestige of the old TNA or whatever, I think it's right up EC3's alley. I think it would do wonders for EC3 if he wins here. It's just hard for me to say that they're gonna what do you do with James Storm after this though if he loses? It's just, is there really a comeuppance that you get? I'm gonna go for EC3, but I'm just not too sure about it.
Well, James Storm being a Hall of Famer, they'll keep him around to do what they want to do. EC3 does not need to lose this match. If he loses this match, I think I would give this pay-per-view definitely a point less on whatever I was going to give it. I think, even if it was a 1, they'd get a -1 from me if EC3 loses this match. It just makes no sense. It's a strap match for a reason, and I get it, James Storm is supposed to be doing the punishing, but I think in the end it's going to be EC3. And James Storm, his win is the fact that he's going to the Hall of Fame. If, being in the Impact Hall of Fame is a win. So, just saying.
Ooh, God. Any Impact fans here probably want to just kill us by now.
Yeah, and I know, but I'm just being honest, and it's just something that I don't know. They don't even have one of their best announcers in the Hall of Fame. So I think that's already a slap in the face.
Well, Mike Tenay turned this down. You are going to get Don West on the call. So, you excited about that? Because he's going to keep you excited.
I'm just going to listen to Flores, and then after that, I won't even know anybody else is on commentary.
I wonder how many WWE references Flores is going to make.
I don't know. I don't want to hear Don West's voice. I don't. But I'll have to. Maybe I'll put this on mute and just listen to some Pink Floyd or something while I watch the pay-per-view.
Fall asleep.
You never know. But anyway, let's start with the Full Metal Mayhem match that's going to take place between Davey Richards and his wife, Angelina Love. They'll be facing off against Eddie and Alicia Edwards. And this is going to be a match that I think is going to be kind of exciting. I think Full Metal Mayhem works for these guys. Sean, what do you expect?
First ever mixed Full Metal Mayhem. This has been a blood feud or whatever. These two have just been like cats and dogs, literally going at it with each other. Two former partners, now enemies. Families at stake here, just all that. I feel like this is one of those where Eddie kind of has to get his revenge. So I think Eddie and Alicia win. But man, expect some carnage here. And it's going to be some good carnage.
This is the first match we're talking about I have a lot of interest in. just because they've done a pretty good job with this feud, even though it might have gone on a little long. This is what they've been building up to the entire time. I like Eddie and his wife here as well, but there should be some really, really great spots in here, and I don't know how much the ladies are going to bring. I haven't seen enough of Alicia Edwards wrestle, but I know 3 parts of this equation are pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too, and I just look forward to all the different, spots that's going to be a part of this. Are they going to use tables? Are they going to use chairs? What different weapons will they be using, and what extreme will they be? That's what's exciting to me, and I think they'll go all out. I really do. I think they're going to do as much as possible and really kind of shock you, surprise you, make you feel really excited about what you're seeing. So I think they'll do a good job here. I will go with Eddie and Alicia. I think that they'll take this home. But just to me, it makes the most sense. Let's talk about the Knockouts Championship match that'll be taking place. This is champion versus champion. You have your Impact Wrestling champion coming into this, which it's kind of funny because they really showcased this a lot with other factors, So that's one thing I will have to say about this is will they have other factors as a part of this? But let's talk about the fact that you're going to get, of course, I don't know if KM is going to show up in this too. That's another thing that kind of worries me. You're going to have a match between a Knockout champion Rosemary. She'll be, of course, holding the Impact Championship, and GFW Women's Champion Sienna. And these two, I'm not sure. I mean, I think, like I said, there could be some outside interferences here. I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
I didn't think much about the outside interference stuff, but I'm sure it'll be there. If it is, Sienna probably has the heavier heavies on her side. So I'll say Sienna, but I enjoy Rosemary so much. I really, really hope she wins.
Well, this is so weird. Like, are you really going to have the GFW championship stay on any of these shows? Like, they're merged, but wouldn't all the Impact titles be the ones that need to stay? I mean,
they're unification matches. So I would assume that'll be the one that sticks around, but I would assume it's.
I don't know. Most of the time, it's whoever wins, that's the title that stays. So it's weird. Like, I don't know. You're right. They could just decide to make one Knockouts title after that, and introduce all the titles now that have Impact Wrestling on them instead of TNA. But I really hope Rosemary wins. She's been great. She's one of the standout things about Impact. I could see Sienna winning to pull the heel factor, but I'm going to say Rosemary keeps it.
This is tough. I can honestly completely could see Sienna taking this, and it's weird to say that, but in a way, I'm going to go Rosemary. It's kind of going against my gut, but I will say Rosemary will take this one, and those titles will be together. Well, let's talk about the tag titles now, and this one's going to be interesting. We have LAX coming in as the champs. They'll be facing off against El Hijo de Fantasma and Drago, which will be kind of fun. Along with, they'll be facing off against Marufuji and Ishimori. And the other tag team a part of this is Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid. So, 4 tag teams here. Really curious to see who will come out as the winners. If you ask me right now, I'm still going to stick with LAX. I don't know about you guys. What do you think, Sean?
LAX has been another one of the really great things about Impact. I don't think it's their time to lose it, even though the only team they're probably going to lose it to is Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid. The other teams here are invited, and they're probably not sticking around very long past the TV tapings for how long those shows are. Which I guess they could win and then have them lose during those TV tapings too. But I'll say LAX retains after a hard-fought, terrific 4-way match between the teams here. This is one of the matches I'm kind of excited about just from all the people in it. But yeah, this is going to be good stuff.
Yeah, pretty much everything Sean said. I expect this to open the show. I expect LAX to retain, and I expect this just to be a really, really fun match. And just, the culture clash in itself should be really cool, too.
We got the best of 3 falls X Division Championship match headed your way. That'll be, of course, with your champion Sanjay Dutt facing off against Loki. What do you think about this one, Paul?
Man, this one, I think it'd be kind of lame just to throw it back on Loki, because Sanjay Dutt is a great wrestler, and I'd love to see him get a little bit of a run with this, but I'll pick Sanjay to win, even though I think Loki probably is going to win it back. But it ultimately won't matter because the best thing on Impact Wrestling, Matt Sydal, is going to be winning this championship sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Matt Sydal is probably going to be winning this championship really soon. I think Loki's probably going to get it back. And now that they're not in India, it kind of seems like the thing. Sanjay Dutt's kind of the player coach here, if you want to use that term. Loki's been tremendous. I'm going to say he wins. This should be another really, really good match. I just, Loki could have had that next gen title somewhere, but Cody's over there holding it without ever defending the thing. So, what was it, like 200 days he's had that now?
Something like that.
I'll be glad. That'll be hilarious when that comes back in. Like, hey, I'm still next gen champion. Oh, we do not care. Thank you.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I've been using that to prop up my bookcase at the house. I'll bring it to you guys. Keep forgetting about that. So, anyway, let's move on to the champion versus champion match when it comes to the heavyweight titles. Your Impact champion, Bobby Lashley, will be headed to the ring with King Mo on his side. And he'll be taking on GFW champion Alberto El Patron with father Dos Caros in his corner. So this will be kind of interesting. Really, Patron has gotten a lot of the love on Impact tapings. Will that be the case here in this actual show, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I hope their match is way better than the first one. It was really boring. I'm sure King Mo and Dos Caras being involved means there's going to be some interference and stuff like that to kind of keep things going. With the fact that I don't El Patron not really being fully committed to Impact sometimes makes me. I mean, Impact will do stupid things, so it doesn't surprise me. But you think that they would keep it on a guy that's much more committed to Impact than Alberto Patron, who's got his Combate America stuff. He's got other things he's doing. And Bobby Lashley's also been so great. This feud's actually been pretty good, at least on the talking wise. I thought they did really good on the video packages too for this during Impact that I forgot to talk about. But I feel like it might just be Alberto Patron's time. So his dad's there, see him get crowned champion, makes sense.
I'm sure Patron's going to win this, but I'll be pulling for Lashley at home. He's just such a great champion. I've loved every single one of his title reigns for the most part, so it'll be sad to see him lose, but it won't stop me from cheering for him.
Yeah, it bums me out to think that, Lashley could lose to Patron like this, and it's going to be all about Patron, but I just think the way they've kind of showcased things and the way they want to go about it, they really want Patron to be their guy, and Bobby Lashley, the one that was there and being loved by the former administration, I think it really suits Jeff Jarrett well to watch the former administration's guy lose. So, yeah, I'll go Patron too, even though I don't like it. So, well, there goes your Slammiversary card. Of course, will be a show this weekend, and we'll be probably talking about that on our next shows. So be looking forward to that. But before we get out of here, guys, we got to crown a Superstar of the Week, and we got some pretty interesting names on our list here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll be right back with Superstar of the Week.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, guys, let's start this thing off by giving a point to the first Women's Money in the Bank winner, Carmella.
Yeah, Carmella recaptures the briefcase after she was stripped of it. Pretty solid match, and she wins it by herself this time. No help from James inside, and that's all pretty cool. So congrats to Carmella.
We got 2 points going to your new Ring of Honor champion, Cody.
Yeah, good match with Christopher Daniels at the ROH Best in the World 2017 pay-per-view. Big moment for him to be ROH champion, and now going into another title opportunity for him at the G1 USA Special.
The guy that had a pretty big weekend, Kushida, got 3 points.
Yeah, Kushida retains the television title at Best in the World. He retains the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship at one of the Kazuna Road Show. He's just everywhere. He's winning championships. He's winning matches, and Kushida just stays awesome.
We got 4 points moving over to Miss Asuka.
Yes, Asuka had a tremendous match with Nikki Cross on NXT this week. Part of the triumvirate of women main eventing the WWE shows, and had the best match of them all. Totally deserving of the 4 points to stay undefeated.
And 5 points, and the guys, it'll be Superstar of the Week, the Young Bucks.
Just an absolutely stellar performance from the Young Bucks at Best in the World in their tag team title defense. Best Friends added, made it even better. War Machine was great, but the Young Bucks get the pinfall. They're still your champs, and that's enough to win them 5 points this week.
There you go. So congratulations to the Young Bucks for an awesome week. There you go. Well, that wraps up everything that we had to offer tonight. We had quite a bit to get into, and I was really excited about everything we had to discuss, but we are finished for this week at least. And then, of course, we'll be back next week. So if you want to come check us out, make sure you don't forget to go check out the W2Mnet.com or 411mania.com. Also, make sure you go subscribe and rate and review if you haven't already at Wrestling to the Max, as well as the W2M Network. Hey, we appreciate all you guys that have already done it. We, know there's a lot of you that still haven't yet to do it. So it'll just take you a few minutes. Go rate, review, and also, hey, hit that subscribe button. That keeps you from having to search us out. And every time we do a show, going and finding us. We'll be back, of course, next Tuesday morning with you guys, a new show. That's right. We'll be episode 254, part 1, bringing to you a lot of great action. We'll probably be covering Slammiversary on that show, talking about all the results from it, and of course we'll be talking about Ring of Honor and that TV taping. So trust me, lots of great content, plus all the big wrestling news coming your way. And of course we'll be back Friday morning of next week with all the cool conversations we'll be having about Lucha Underground and all that on part 2. Trust me, a big show's coming your way, plus all the great review shows that we have to offer. You don't want to miss a minute of the action. Lots of cool stuff for you guys. Well, that wraps us up for good. We are done tonight. We thank you once again for joining us. I am Gary Vaughan. He is Sean Garmer and Paul Leazar. And until next time, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all,
you know it.
Please.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.